What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to ANDERZÉN. Today, I'm gonna make a custom intake for the M119. Now, to start off, as a disclaimer, I'm not trying to make any more power. I know that everyone's gonna say, oh, it's gonna get heat soaked, it's not a cold air anymore, etc., etc. But this is just my own thing, experimenting. It didn't cost much, honestly. I'll tell you everything we got. But yeah, I wanna try it out. I think it would be cool. I think it would sound cool. And who knows, it might have some performance benefit depending on how we route our piping and stuff like that. But anyways, let's get into it. So here is our bare canvas. Got the factory intake pulled off. Factory intake box is just like the M113s and a lot of other Mercedes M112s. Has a separate back piece and then kind of like a little beauty cover in the front. And all of it is supposed to be kind of a beautiful blend of performance and, you know, keeping the engine bay clean looking. But this engine is too golden to not show off. It's, I don't know, I just love the way the engine looks. The dual overhead cam V8s always look good in my opinion, no matter make or model really. So I would rather see this thing when I go in here to look at it. And it helps me gauge what else is going on in here. Keep track of, you know, how bad our PCV pipes are doing. Those are going to get taken care of soon as well. But basically, it's just a chance to be able to see everything that's going on in the engine bay. And if it can have some performance benefit, then cool. Otherwise, it's all good. It's just an experiment. So with that covered, those two things, let's go ahead and show you guys what we're actually going to be using here. So first off, to make this possible from the start of the MAF, we got this VRP Y-split intake silicone tubing. So yeah, the bottom of this is a little more than 3.5 and the top portions are a little less than 3.5 on the inner diameter. We have an aluminum piping that we're gonna cut into pieces pretty much. Has a bead on one side, it doesn't have a bead on the other. And honestly, both of our elements, the filter and this, it's such a tight fit that I'm kind of happy it doesn't have a bead, and I probably shouldn't have ordered one with a bead anyways, but oh well. Other things we got, these are about 84 to 94 millimeter T-bolt clamps. And I highly recommend these over like the little screw clamps if you guys can. You can get these at lots of places actually, even local auto parts stores like O'Reilly's, Napa. I picked up a few from Napa, and then one of them came with, not this one, but another intake I have, and then this one also came with one. So we have one extra here, but we'll just use the ones we got. And last but not least, this is like the biggest life hack part of this, that I did a lot of research online trying to figure out something that would work. And this is kind of the surprise element that most people wouldn't think of. Oh, you're making an aftermarket intake. Why would you use paper filters? Well, the reason is paper filters, in the end, all the tests that I've seen, they do filter better. And because I'm not going for, you know, performance necessarily, I just want good filtration and something that's going to work. And most importantly, this was very cost effective. Each one of these filters was like $8. So $16 for the pair. And these are big filters with about a 3.3 inch opening. So you notice it doesn't have anywhere to place a clamp on. So this is actually just a squeeze fit onto the piping. And the ones that these come off of for factory uses, like this filter in particular, this is a Bosch work filter, but it's an interchangeable part number. There it is right there. But it's an interchangeable part number with, I believe, a GM based motor, like the 5.3 liter Vortec engines from the Trailblazers. I think Saab used a similar engine from GM. A few other, quite a bit of applications actually use the same filter. And on the stock setting, it's basically just a slip fit as well. And it has a little like plastic stopper so that it only goes, you know, a certain portion in, but it really has nothing holding it in place. This is all polyurethane at the top. So it's maneuverable, but it's like firm enough and it's grippy enough that it's not gonna go anywhere. I already test fit it on these pipes, and you really have to kind of work it into here. I put a little bit of dish soap to slide in at first, and then from there, it's pretty much not gonna move around. You pretty much have to rip it off after you get it stuck on there. So 2 of these, so we're basically gonna do a Y setup, so it'll sit like so, and then we'll have pipes going this way, pipes going this way, and we'll see if we can make this fit. It's gonna be tight. I might have to chop off a portion of this bottom to get it to sit a little bit lower, but I think we can make it work. So I will update you guys as we go along. One other thing before we get going, I wanted to shout out SoCal210. He's on YouTube and on IG for the resistor hack little mod on the cooling system. If you guys can see, I have a 1K resistor right there, and it's basically just coiled around each of the prongs for the temp sensor for the fan. And what that does is it basically sets the resistance at a different level, and it makes the fans kick on at 95 Celsius instead of 107 Celsius, which in my book, 107 is too hot for them to wait to kick on till. And they worked perfectly fine. It was, it always worked at 107, but that's too late for my liking. If I can make it run cooler, then I would much prefer that. So now I've had this on for about a week, and it's been working like a charm every time. It never goes past 95. As soon as it gets to 95, it kicks the fans on right away, brings it right back down to about 89, 80, whatever it is, depending on how cool it is outside. So yeah, can't thank him enough. That's a great little mod hack that I saw from him on his YouTube channel. And yeah, I think he has a write-up on the forums as well. He's got Instagram, so I'll plug his stuff, maybe pop it up on screen or something. But yeah, special thanks. It's a very cool thing, and I'm happy to keep the car running cooler. All right, so getting into things, basically I just have to determine how long I want each side to be. It's gonna end up, two different pieces plugging in to that Y splitter. So I'm gonna try to play around with placement of the filters and where they're gonna fit okay. And hopefully I'm gonna be okay running, straight pieces. And I didn't shoot myself in the foot. Maybe I should have gotten some angled pieces, but we'll see. See if I can get this to work. All right, guys, well, after lots of trial and error, still don't know if it's gonna work. Hood clearance is minimal at best. So we're gonna have to play around this a little more. The thing I can do is I can kind of like angle the pipes down depending on how I like actually insert them in, so I can adjust them down, but everything is fit very tight on there. So I want to start it up at least and just see what it sounds like. Well, you see it works, but there's no way I'm gonna be able to close the hood. It's close, but no go. So I can try to adjust these a little bit, see if I can get it somewhat close. If they squeeze down a tiny bit, it's not a big deal. The biggest thing is I gotta clamp those three things to make sure if they are squeezing down, it's not gonna like pop them off, but this might not be it, guys. All right, guys, well, surprisingly, it actually works. It squeezes down just enough. As you can see, it's only a tiny bit over that hood liner, and when it actually closes down, the hood kind of pushes it down where it needs to be. Now, the last thing, please don't take me serious with this. I need a 4-inch clamp, because all the clamps that I have, the T-bolt clamps, are like 3.5. So that bottom one is a little bit bigger. and with the silicone over the map. Is there a ghost in here? Anyways, with that over the MAF, it's a little bit bigger, probably, I don't know, like 3.75 or 4 inches. So if I get a 4-inch one, it should be good because they can go up or down a little bit. So I will grab one of those and should be good to go. I mean, the only thing to do now is just test it and see how things go. All right, and then last thing, the inlet pipes. I am planning, if I can get this to work and I'm happy with it and it's not all for nothing, I'll get some piping that will fit on this nicely and I can route it up to here. I was either gonna put like a heat shielding basically somewhere like on the underside, build one out of aluminum. So I can, you know, add to it as I go, but definitely don't want these in here right now because they don't stay very tight on here. And if they were to pop off, then they're not connected to anything on this, on the back side, and they could basically just fall into the fan or somewhere else that's not good. So I'm gonna take them off for now. One other mod, didn't show you guys yet. Decided to make this baby an E400 instead. I just don't like the E420 moniker. I think it's weird that they changed it from the 400E to the E420, but they kept 500E, E500, you know, I don't know. That's just me, my personal preference. So change it back to the E400. Unique. All right guys, well, last thing left to do is drive it, see how it is, and I'll update you in a few days if it was actually worth it or if it's just something that I was experimenting with for fun and not really a purpose. All right guys, so far driving, I can tell you right now, the sound element is definitely worth it. I'll show you guys when we get up this hill here. Let me go ahead, see if it's gonna stay green or not. Sounds very good. A lot better. You can actually hear the motor now. You couldn't even hear the motor before. So just cruising along now. I love the sound, I'm not gonna lie, and that's the truth behind a lot of people making intakes anyways, is they want the noise from the engine bay in all reality. I mean, yes, they can provide horsepower in the right setting, especially if you're, you know, putting a lot of thought into it like the factory engineers do. I don't think I'm gonna outperform the factory airbox whatsoever as far as intake air temps or anything like that, but maybe a little more air volume, but it definitely beats it in the sound regard, and performance feels the same. I don't notice an increase by any means. Don't notice a decrease either. So it's just kind of the same, but it's got a better noise element to it. And I don't know, it makes the car a little more fun, being able to hear what's going on, for me at least. That's my opinion. So I'm gonna keep cruising, and I guess I'll update you guys in a few days once I get the clamp, or maybe tomorrow once I get that proper clamp for it. Do some more testing, probably throw the GoPro in the car and let you guys get a clear view of driving and hearing it, downshift and zoom around. So I'll update you guys then. Okay, one more real quick one since we're here. Do a little downshift, slow it down a little bit to downshift. Kick down switch, see how it sounds. Sounds good. Feels the same, pretty much. maybe a little peppier, but that might be placebo. Because, you know, every time you do something like this, you think, oh, it's faster, but I gotta drive it more to actually be able to say that. And if you're wondering, what did it sound like before? Well, it didn't really sound like much, because there wasn't much noise coming from the engine bay. I mean, you could hear the engine, but not much of the intake side of things. So yeah, check back with you guys later. All right, guys, next day, got the bigger clamp. Let's go ahead and check on how this thing is sitting after sitting overnight, basically, on top of whatever situation we got. All right, not bad. So you can see, I mean, it's touching up here definitely, but it's not hurting anything. And our zip tie method held up. I didn't put it too tight, so I should still be able to slip that thing off there and then slide this clamp on. So let's update in a sec. All right, so there it is, complete. Got the proper band on there now. Everything is nice and tight. This MAF actually pulls up just like the M113 style, so if you pull that hard enough, obviously it's gonna pop up, but this will not come off of the MAF. And with the hood pressing down on anything, I'm not worried at all about the MAF trying to pop out or anything. So yeah, I guess what's left to do now is just keep testing it, and I will update you guys later on in real life, but probably in about 5 seconds in the video. All right, guys, so unexpected turn for the video. I'm sure this will be for most of you guys watching. I had the intake going. Intake was working fine, but yesterday when I was driving the W124, transmission just out of nowhere, I'd driving for like 10 minutes and I tried to pull away from a stoplight and first gear just had no go. Basically had to kind of limp it back home. It would basically like flare in first if I did more than, you know, super slow throttle. Second has already been gone. I've talked about that in a few videos. Second has been skipping. It basically just shifts first to third, which I was presuming was a valve body issue, which is why I picked up that spare valve body, and we were going to do a whole video about, you know, rebuilding the valve body, etc. May still be happening, but yeah, first gear was basically just flaring if I didn't do super slow throttle. Once I got it to about 3,000 RPM, then I could shift it up into third, and third and fourth were perfectly normal. Reverse is still normal, everything's still going. So I don't know, I've been posting on the forums trying to get some help with it to see what's the possibilities. I did check the fluid right now, and dead cold, it's reading close to like the low arrow on the 80 Celsius mark. So the fluid is high, but I don't know if that's enough to, you know, cause what was happening. So we'll see, I guess. But to exhaust all options, I'm gonna go pick up that little 12-volt oil extractor, and I'll come back and pull some of the fluid out, get it to the correct mark, and then we'll go for a test drive, and fingers crossed. I'm staying hopeful. You guys, I have no idea how, but the car is back to normal. And the only thing I can think of is somehow that intake tripped up something, either ECU related or something. Could have had the car in limp mode, I don't know, but the behavior that the transmission was doing didn't seem like a limp mode. So honestly, I am lost. So what happened with it? Honestly, I have no clue. I really don't know. I'm gonna get the car lifted up right now and inspect around the transmission, but I mean, if it was a vacuum line popped off, it wouldn't have just magically fixed itself. I checked all the vacuum lines yesterday, or tried to, at least what I could see. Nothing was apparently off, so that can't really be the issue. I really don't know, but the way the car was driving yesterday, and the thing is, I switched out the airbox, put this one back on, put the factory one back on, and then drove it again last night, and it was still doing the exact same thing. So I was like, okay, it didn't have to do with the intake. But then today I go and drive it, and it's back to normal how it was. I'm stumped. Let's take a look and see what we find, if anything. All right, guys, I just took a good look at everything down by the trans, vacuum lines I can see up here. And I really don't have a source for why that whole situation was happening. The only reasonable guess that I can put together is the car entering some type of limp mode, based off of just the extra air being metered, but that sounds kind of ridiculous. It's possible, I guess. I know that these ECUs have a tough time with any type of major air fuel adjustments, and they don't have, you know, the self-tuning capabilities of the later, you know, ME 2.0s or ME 2.8s. So I don't know. I guess it's a possibility, but it seems very odd to me. And hopefully somebody that watched this video will maybe have a better guess than I. There is an active thread going on the 500E board, where we're trying to decipher what exactly was going on. The thread started as help me figure out why second gear is skipping entirely, but it soon changed to that whole situation, and then now it's going to be going back to whatever, potential valve body rebuild later on down the line with that spare one that I have. So yeah, we'll go from there, I guess. So since our transmission is working again, or at least working how it was before, I'm gonna go ahead and take care of the center drag link, because like we saw in the last video, that one is shot. So we have the damper and the drag link itself here. So I'm gonna get the old one out, good old pickle fork. It's pretty shot, so hopefully it comes out somewhat easy. But fingers crossed, gotta get the bolts off and then just kind of wedge this in there and try to pry it out. These other ones are basically, what's it called? Not chamfered, but anyways, forgetting the word. Basically tighten them on to kind of pull them up into the hole, and then should be good to go. So all right, so here's what it looks like without covering on there. Don't forget to take these caps off. Of course, don't install with these. These are just protective during shipping. Part number for this one is right there. And this is actually a 500E part number, or a E500 part number. I had to double check that one based off of my VIN. All right, guys, old parts are out. This thing is shot. Let me show you guys real quick. Yeah. All right, guys, so last little part of the video here. Just want to update a few days later. After doing the center link and the steering damper, car drives a ton better overall, and especially getting up to speeds on the freeway. The only real, if anything, that I feel now is likely from the wheels. These 3 out of 4 of them, if you guys didn't catch it already in any of the episodes on this car, 3 out of 4 of them have bends. I don't know exactly. I mean, the tires are in okay shape, but they're a little bit dry rotted. But a little sneak preview for you guys. There's a solution to that, which will close out our episode in this one. Let's make sure these don't fall out. So we got a solution for that. And I'll catch you on the next one to find out what these are.